Noise, what you're seeing is the Twitter feed from Florida A&M University. What you're not going to see on the Florida A&M University Twitter feed are any videos or photos of the $237 million donation that was announced a couple Saturdays ago by Gregory Jerami, the so-called hemp farmer out of Texas. That's because the decision was quietly made to delete all references from social media of this donation, this $237,750,000 donation. That's because you have had a lot of reporting out there that is showing that this is really a fraud, that it's a joke, that this stock that he gave to the university, that he claims a month ago, this stock is really worthless. No one can identify if he actually has a farm. No one can identify what kind of company that he has. He's claimed to have 7,000 contract workers. He's claimed to have farms in multiple states, and none of that can actually be confirmed. Last week, the Florida A&M Foundation held a meeting where it got real contentious. There were a lot of questions that were asked during that meeting with regards to this donation and what it entails. And again, they have been unable to really answer a lot of those questions. On Wednesday, the Florida A&M Board of Trustees, they are going to have a meeting where this is going to be discussed. Now, on that call with the board, with the foundation, there's one sister who was on it who actually has a strong financial background. She raised some really important questions that I think Florida A&M needs to answer. Listen.
I want to first say that I just want to say how excited I think a lot of us were when we saw this first come through. A major donor gift, the institution, to take the institution to a transformational level is amazing. However, I have to say that I came here with an open mind. I'm listening. And as a new member of the board who just started in January, I'm really here to focus on our fiduciary responsibility to be financial stewards and to protect the reputation of the foundation itself. I'm sure there are operational and leadership challenges and concerns that will be addressed by the Board of Trustees next week. So I just want to make sure, folks know that I'm here to really understand the process and the transaction itself, because what is striking to me is what I heard from our OCIO from Disciplina, that they just heard about this for the first time on Sunday evening. As well as what I'm hearing and what my personal experience is that the first time I heard about this was a text message from a friend forwarding me something on Saturday, and the board got no official notice about this until Sunday afternoon. That's very, very problematic with such a major donation. So my concerns are twofold. One is about the overall process and financial controls, how staff is able to do 9-figure level on behalf of the foundation board without the foundation board knowing about it, signing contracts, et cetera. So how did we get this far without knowledge of the transaction or the donor by the OCIO or the board? How are we thinking about contracts and review and execution of those contracts? And how is the board being informed after the fact? Because if the document that I saw, the agreement that I saw, is the final agreement, it's not even fully executed. So if you take note on the signature lines, the donor line is empty. It's not signed. And so those types of things are very concerning. And then moving on to the transaction itself, and those would be concerning if this was cash or if this was a public stock and we could liquidate and we could move it into our investment policy, et cetera. The process itself, I am very concerned about how this took place and how we're here. Now listening to the transaction history, how this donor came to us, the process internally that took place, some things that are very obvious are that we didn't have a formal due diligence process, because I was simply going to ask for the due diligence report and third-party valuation to try to quell a lot of the questions. But what I just heard is that it didn't exist and that we're deferring valuation until later when we're making public announcements. And so the structure of the deal, I think we started hearing it with questions with Disciplina. Are these restricted shares? How is it structured? Who was the issuing company? So we got that answered. How are we vetting the due diligence? Is there a KYC report, et cetera? And so Where I'm going to leave this, because I think we can't answer the questions I originally had, is really going to President Robinson. I need to understand from you, when you were aware, how were you involved in this process, and what was the decision-making thoughts around excluding both the board of the foundation, as well as from the vice chair's announcement yesterday, apparently
Talk your shit, kid!
To get to this position to make a public announcement the way we did. I would like to hear from you, your level of involvement, when you knew how decisions were made up to this point.
Yeah, thank you very much. Director Kidd, I have been involved in the process pretty much all the way along. When the money proposed gift, rose above a certain level,
4 seconds.
I was informed by Ms. Simmons enough, and I have been following it throughout. At the time, it rose to the level of a stock change when the NDA agreement was made. I was committed to honoring that agreement, which indicated that I could not share it. Not only with this board, but also with my board chair as well. She was made aware of this event, of this activity on Saturday, like so many other people were. And so I was compelled by the NDA agreement not to violate that for the potential of losing what we thought was a great opportunity at the time. And that's really, I don't know if we violated any Foundation Board of Directors policy or procedure when it came to this gift receipt. But I do think it's something worth considering how we might handle such gifts in the future.
I want to first say that I just want to say how excited I think a lot of us were when we saw.
All right, so where shall I begin? The comment that you heard from President Larry Robinson right there was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. How in the hell can you, the president of a public university, say, well, I signed a non-disclosure agreement and I didn't want to share with anybody because we might lose the money? You are the president of a public institution. That's one. This is the sister who was jamming him up. Shakisha Kidd. Everything she said was on point. She's like, who was involved in this? And how do you have a document that was not signed by all parties, but your ass put a press release out? You put out this big old story. You let the man give a commencement speech. The folks at ABC News obtained the document. The board chair signed it. They pulled a video that was on their Instagram page of the president signing it. Jerami signed it, but there were two signatures. There was one for the trust representative and one for Jerami. The trust line was empty. So how in the world do you come out publicly and tell the world that you got a $237,750,000 donation that to the layman or the laywoman, you think, yo, somebody actually gave them $237,750,000. No. You come to find out that it was $237,750,000 worth of stock in a company that nobody from Florida A&M checked to see even exist. He valued the 15 million shares at $15.85 in a non-existent company. And you touted this, and it went public, and you celebrated it, and you let him give a commencement speech wearing them sharecropper shoes. And all of a sudden, y'all look like the biggest fools in America. Let me just go ahead and say this, because here's the whole deal. The board can't fire everybody. The board of trustees can only fire the president. The board is going to meet on Wednesday. If it is absolutely true that the board chair of Florida A&M Board of Trustees, if the board chair of Florida A&M Board of Trustees was aware of this gift, and if the board chair signed this document with the Isaac Batterson Family 7th Trust, if that is the case, the board chair needs to be replaced. If the board chair is replaced, President Larry Robinson needs to be fired. And after a new president is named, the new president should fire every single Florida A&M individual who was involved over the last 6 months in any meetings and the vetting of this individual. I'm very well clear in terms of what needs to happen here. Because if you're the president of the university and you do not tell your board, tell your foundation, tell anybody about any of this, that's crazy. The ABC affiliate there, this is what they said. In the document FAMU's Public Records Department provided ABC 27, the following people signed the agreement. Gregory Jerami, Family Foundation representative, who we now know as a joke. Larry Robinson, FAMU president, he needs to go. Shanta Friday Stroud, vice president, university advancement, and executive director of the FAMU Foundation, she needs to be fired, or she needs to resign, because this is what it says. In the agreement copy provided, there is no signature on the line for the Isaac Batterson Family 7th Trust representative. ABC 27 asked FAMU's Public Records Department about this. We're waiting to hear back. It laid out a 10-year donation schedule, all this stuff. Oh, it had all this stuff in it. Y'all, all this now, we now know is an absolute joke. We know that this is grossly illegitimate. It doesn't exist. I don't want anybody to lose their job. But if you're a public employee at a public university, you are a steward of the public. Your credibility and integrity in leadership is based upon credibility and integrity. And if Dr. Larry Robinson, as well as Shanta Friday Stroud, as well as anybody else who was involved in this, none of those people should be in a leadership position at Florida A&M. Because not only is this embarrassing, it also shows they don't even know how to use Google. It shows they can't even do basic research. It shows that they didn't even have the common sense to hire somebody to vet this guy. I read one story where he called the University of Texas because he's supposedly based in Austin. They laughed at him. You publicly announce a deal that wasn't even fully executed. Do y'all understand that when I moved into this studio space, I did not say a word publicly until I had a fully executed document in my hand, signed by me, the leasing agent, and the company we leased it from? I've never bought a vehicle. When we got the Mobile, I didn't tell anybody what we bought until I had the title in my hand. This is basic as hell. So you literally have two cameras from ABC News, because the then president, Kim Godden, is a Florida A&M graduate. You had two network cameras present, and you happily announced a $237 million donation from a crank. How can anybody at Florida A&M, faculty, staff, student, alumni, state officials, trust anybody in leadership with making right decisions if you could not figure out this dude was a complete fraud? And if Wednesday, if the Florida A&M Board of Trustees, when they have their meeting, if the board chair says, I was aware of this through and through, gotta go. Gotta go. And anybody who was involved in this, they cannot lead. I don't care how great of a person they are. I don't care how nice they can't lead. Because I don't believe anybody in the FAMU Rattler family could have any trust whatsoever, any trust in them. Kristen Harper, she's the chair. She is the founder and CEO of Driven to Succeed, LLC, which provides market research, brand strategy consulting, keynotes, and training on leadership and emotional intelligence for Fortune 500 companies and rising leaders. There is no way, if she was aware of this deal, she could lead a board chair. Because if you provide emotional intelligence for Fortune 500 companies, there clearly was no real intelligence in vetting this crank, Gregory Jerami. Julian, you're the president emerita of Bennett College. And I'm sure over the years, you have had people come to you wanting to give to Bennett. I'm sure you've had people come to you, Julian, promising all sorts of grand and wonderful things. And I'm sure you probably went, okay, well, please hand me your card, and we look forward to talking with you. And you went, please Google his crazy ass to see if he real or not. Am I lying?
Something like that. I mean, I had actually one of my funny stories. I had a brother approach me. He wanted to give us $230 million, but he claimed it was a couple million. But he also wanted the opportunity to speak at commencement. And he came at me in April. I said, "No, dude, that ain't happening. We already have a commencement speaker. Well, if I could just get 5 minutes. No. Hell to the no. In fact, I got in trouble because I wasn't that nice to him. But, and I guess I could have smiled, but it was BS. And then he didn't have what he said he had. But why would I let him speak at my commencement? Speak to my students who are at at a significant milestone. Now, this whole thing, as soon as I heard about it, it reeked. But the worst thing about Roland that breaks my heart is not just that FAMU didn't vet this man, is that they were so eager to get the money that they let good sense go out the window. And this speaks at some level to the desperation in which so many HBCUs exist, needing money desperately. But what FAMU has done, what they've done, it's not harmful to FAMU, it's harmful to HBCUs in general, because it makes them look like a bunch of Mr. Bojangles dancing buffoons. That's what it makes them look like. And others are going to look and say, is this how they do business in HBCU land? So it's really very tragic. And this guy, I mean, I don't know. But President Robinson, I don't know either what he was thinking. I've been in his company. He seems like a nice enough brother. But this is just unacceptable and unreasonable. And his whole development team needs to be gone. Just start over.
Hey, listen, Derek. Go to my iPad. She signed this thing. Shanta Friday Stroud is the vice president for university advancement. She's executive director of the FAMU Foundation, and she's also dean of the business school. First of all, let's be real clear. You can't have 3 major jobs at one time. Let's just start there, okay?
Yeah.
But that's immaterial, Derek. She signed it. There is no way she could do I'm sorry. She might be a nice woman. You are the dean of the Florida A&M University School of Business, considered one of the top or the top business school at an HBCU. You are the vice president for university advancement. You are the executive director of the FAMU Foundation. And you didn't use Google? You didn't say, hold up, a 30-year-old black guy who we ain't never heard of calls us out of the blue to offer he wants to do a donation. And you never uncover the previous donation to Coastal Carolina, $95 million that fell through. And you move forward with an announcement. You sign a document he never signed. There's no representative for the trust, and the money was coming from the trust. I'm sorry, Derek. Nice people sometimes got to be fired.
Hello.
And they should have resigned by now. Follow your sword and resign. But if they haven't resigned, I'm sorry. They got to go, Derek.
You know, when you have fiduciary responsibility, Roland, there are processes, there are policies, and there are protocols already in place. And any of us who have ever been in a fiduciary responsibility understand that those 3 Ps that I just outlined, you cannot deviate, especially if you are a historically black college, who, to the point that Dr. Melvo highlighted, now this shadow could be very well cast upon all HBCUs. It doesn't make it right, but this is what happens when a story at this magnitude and this kind of gravity, to the point that you're making, Roland, it impacts us all. It is not fair. I get it. But when you think about this kind of level of money, now it's one thing, Roland, if Jeff Bezos called up Dr. Larry Robinson and say, hey, I'm Jeff Bezos, we all know.
But hold up, if Jeff Bezos calls you on the phone, say, Shay Dog, FaceTime me so I can know it's your ass.
That's exactly right. Because even if it's Jeff Bezos, Roland, we will still take Jeff Bezos through the process and make sure the protocols and all the requirements of the policies are in place.
And guess what? And even if Jeff Bezos was sitting right there and we signed the documents and then I went, hold up, dog, you didn't sign. We ain't announcing a damn thing until I see a fully executed agreement. And any line that's empty is not a fully executed agreement. And I'm firing the Florida A&M General Counsel. Because Renita, the Florida A&M General Counsel should have said, hold up. I got the president. I got the FAMU Foundation and Gregory. There's a line missing. There's a line for the representative of the foundation. This is not a fully executed document. We are not going to publicly announce this until all parties have signed the document. I'm sorry. They got to go, Renita.
Well, and that's what I'm wondering is, did he even run it past their counsel? Because, and that's my question, because when he saw that they did not sign, that didn't trigger anything in his mind to say, maybe I need to speak with the university attorneys to ask them, doesn't this seem weird that they didn't sign? I mean, I have my own consulting business that I run. And let me tell you this, when I'm giving a client a contract, an agreement, I actually would let them sign first before I sign, because I really want to make sure that they are locked in. And so the fact that that didn't ring any alarm bells for him is amazing. The other thing that's amazing, too, is, like we've all talked about, if this trust doesn't even exist, it's not even real, then that lets us know that he had never heard of this trust when they approached him. So why would he not go and try to Google and see if he could get any information about them? As for the other people that were involved, yes, they should have done their due diligence, but I bet you money when the details come out on this, they all are probably going to say, which is probably the truth, that they assumed the presidents would have done, that the president had done his basic research as it relates to this agreement. I bet you that's what they will say, is that they probably could not imagine a situation where the president had not done the research, because that's what anybody would do. If somebody approaches you to say they're going to give you something and you never heard of these people, and it's a really large gift that you don't just find walking down the street, like, it's all just kind of unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
And here's the deal.
It's not the president's job to vet the thing. It's a VP of development. Stuff comes to your desk. The president, if the president were aware, should have said to the director of development, are you sure this is real? Let's talk about it. But the director of the development is the one who dropped the ball, not the president.
No, hell no. You know why? I listened on that call last week. I forgot the woman who was talking. I'm sorry, I don't have the name right now. But on the call, I can't use the precise words, but she said on the call that some skeptical things came forward. I forgot the precise language, but she mentioned that there was something that came up, and she said President Robinson said move ahead with him giving the commencement address.
That part, okay, you're right.
I was listening to the I listened to the call about an hour before I came in and did the show. I forgot the precise language. I'm paraphrasing. He made the call. And here's the other deal. FAMU, they've now taken the stuff down from social media. This ain't down.
People got pictures.
Hold up, no. This will not, come on, Anthony, this will never go down. This is President Larry Robinson introducing Gregory Jerami at the 2024 May commencement at Florida A&M. And now every single graduate in the 2024 class for the rest of their lives are going to have to deal with the reality that a fraudster was their commencement speaker, and their university did not have enough common sense to properly vet this man and look at his background. As a matter of fact, turn audio up.
Grown locally by Patterson and local farmers. His journey showcases resilience, innovation, and service, making history as the youngest African-American industrial hemp producer in Texas and the largest African-American commercial hydroponic warehouse farmer in the state of Texas as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm Rattler welcome to our speaker, Mr. Gregory Jerami.
He stood there and he read off all kind of stuff about this dude and about who he was and how he, you know, and I'm sorry. That matter of fact, this is how it started. Come on, guys, audio.
Hemp products in Texas. Mr. Jerami overcame early adversity to become a prominent figure in the industrial hemp industry and a pioneer in producing and selling high-quality hemp seeds. He was born in 1993 with opioid addiction and other health complications. When he was 2.5 years old, he was adopted by his foster mother, whose love and support helped him to overcome his physical challenges. With his determination and guidance from mentors like former Arlington, Texas Mayor Robert Nance Clark Jr. and a Merrill Lynch banker, Mr. Jerami honed his sense of civic duty and financial skills. He transformed a small lawn care business into a prosperous property management venture, then delved into investment consulting, recognizing opportunities in southern farming. In 2021, he formed Patterson Farms, a San Antonio, Texas-based hydroponic farming and hemp plastic industry that aims to produce bioplastics and fresh organic products year-round, grown locally by Patterson and local farmers. His journey showcases resilience, innovation, and service, making history as the youngest African-American industrial hemp producer in Texas and the largest African-American commercial hydroponic warehouse farmer in the state of Texas.
Julian, if you're going to stand up there and read all of that stuff about his background, don't you think somebody should have said, is all of this stuff verified? Where did you get it from?
Somebody should have. There should have been somebody in his office, a speechwriter, somebody, the communications person, somebody who would have looked at this. I mean, it seems quite far-fetched and fantastic. And so somebody just as a matter of course. But we could go all the way back to the basics. How come nobody Googled the dude? Just Google it, put his name in there. Because I've never heard of, I don't think any of us have heard of this foundation or this farm that he has. It's just common sense. I mean, I Google somebody before I have coffee with him. Just because I'm nosy. I want to know what's up. No, it is really a disgrace on FAMU, and it's a great disgrace on HBCUs. And it's very, again, it partially shows how eager we are to get money for our schools, but also shows how stupid, and I use the word stupid advisedly, stupid some folks are not to check stuff out. You got to check it out. It's so embarrassing. I mean, I feel embarrassed for FAMU. And I think about the sister you had on, who's the dean of the business school and the VP of advancement and what else? Or something else.
And executive director of the Florida A&M Foundation.
Well, often the VP of advancement, they often couple those roles, often, but not always. But Sybil Mobley, who was the illustrious dean of that business school, who was an amazing Black woman, I mean, she's turning over. She is doing, she's turning over in her grave. That woman did so much for that university. She was such a strict taskmaster. I cannot imagine anything like this happening under her watch, because she checked everything. down to the details. So it's so embarrassing. And as I said, it's a black mark on FAMU, which I hope they can recover from. But the only way they're going to recover, and Roland, you're right, somebody needs to fall on their sword. But, people need their jobs, I guess. But this is one where I screwed up. I'm out of here. That's one of those.
Yeah, I just simply, come on. I mean, they organized a call with media. Y'all, go to the Tallahassee Democratic story. During Monday's call, Jerome explained how his journey of building up his wealth over time started with a landscaping and property management business that he owned before selling it in 2016. He then launched an investment company called Batterson Southeast Capital Group from 2007 to 2020 before shifting to hydroponic farming of plants with Batterson Farms Corporation, which was established in 2021. Y'all, here's what's crazy. In April 2023, Texas-based TV station KAMC reported that Jerome, said to be the youngest African-American hemp producer in Texas, bought 114 acres of land with 7 warehouses with the goal of hiring 600 people and building the largest commercial hydroponic site in West Texas. Jerome said he currently has only a few full-time administrative employees, but about 7,000 indirect and contract employees that he expects to grow to a little bit over 10,000 by the end of the year. He said he has about 2,500 plants per acre, but he declined to share his annual revenue or net worth. Here's, again, this is real basic for me, and I said this last week, Renita, Derek, and Julian. If I'm Florida A&M and somebody trying to give me $237 million in stocks, we're gonna have a meeting at your offices. Mm-hmm. We're gonna fly out to meet with you. Mm-hmm. I need to see your company. I need to see. Oh, that land, he brought a TV crew with him. That land is still available. He never bought it. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm talking about. And in this same article, the Texas Hemp Organization, the largest, I gotta find it in here. I forgot the guy's name. But the guys with the largest, he represents, so if you are the most prominent black hemp producer and you own all this here, how is it that the group that actually oversees all Texas hemp farmers ain't never heard of you? I'm sorry, y'all. This is, at the end of the day, heads gotta roll. Mm-hmm. And it can't be one. If the board chair knew, board chair gotta go. And the board gotta fire the president. And whoever they install as a new president, he got to fire at least 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 people. I know that might gut the leadership of Florida A&M. But y'all, this is a massive screw up. Massive. They had already outlined how they gonna spend the money. Oh, $100 million going to athletics, and we got money. Y'all, this thing detail how they gonna spend this. Oh my Lord. The dean of the business school, she talked about, we done had the stocks for a month. The stocks are in this. If anybody came to me right now and said, Roland, I'm gonna give you 1,000 shares in my company and the shares are worth $15.85, I'm gonna go, what company? Where you located? What business do you do? We're gonna sign non-disclosure agreements. You're gonna have to provide me financials. Y'all, this is unbelievable. I'm just gonna end on this note. The Board of Trustees meets y'all on Wednesday. We're gonna see what they decide. Yeah, this is awful. I'm gonna deal with the UNC Chapel Hill stuff tomorrow, the whole DEI stuff. I got Julian, Renita, Derek. I gotta take a break. I just gotta go in and get me some water. Because I spent time this weekend thinking about this here, and I just could not wrap my head. Y'all, I ain't lying. I could not wrap my head around how this even got to an announcement and let the man give a commencement speech. And somebody sent me a note, literally on the phone call, Stroud said on that Zoom last week, doing their research, quote, she found some sketchy stuff, unquote. And the president said, yeah, let's still move forward. We'll let him get a commencement speech.
If I was Larry Johnson, I wouldn't even Google it. I would say, wait a minute, his company's in Texas? Let me call Roland Martin. Because if this company is in Texas, there's one person that knows all of Texas.
And if I don't know,
call Roland Martin.
And if I don't know him, I'm gonna call a group of folk who I know in Austin. Y'all ever heard? Do y'all know how many times that's happened before? Somebody has called me, hey, Roland, so-and-so say he's a big businessman in Houston. I ain't never heard of him. Let me call some folk. Hey, man, ain't nobody heard of this dude in Houston. Mm-hmm. Nobody.
Right.
Buyer beware. That happens all the time.
You know what, Roland? The only blessing up in here is that the white folks don't pay attention to black folks, so this is not on the front page of the New York.
Oh, no.
Because it's the kind of thing.
No, it's made Politico, the New York Times. It's made all of them. And look, I don't care about white folks. I don't care about white media. It's made out front, and it's been an embarrassment to the school. I can't trust you making a decision down the road if you couldn't sniff out this fraud. And this was an easy one to sniff out. This wasn't even hard. He ain't got no real business. Imagine if you got a real company. He didn't even have a real company. Y'all, I can't. All right. Julian, Derek, Renita, I appreciate y'all being, but ooh, Lord, yeah, I got to go. Thank y'all being on the show.
Fanbase is pioneering a new era of social media for the creator economy. This next generation social media app with over 600,000 users is raising $17 million, and now is your chance to invest. For details on how to invest, visit startengine.com/fanbase or scan the QR code. Another way we're giving you the freedom to be you without limits.